Hello and welcome. We're going to do a quick video of a 1982 MCI MC9 bus we have for sale. This is kind of a unique bus. This bus was made specifically for NASCAR races, so if you're a NASCAR fan, it might be something you're interested in. The gentleman who had it has owned it for about 15 to 20 years. He couldn't tell me exactly, he was an older guy, but he's kept it in his heated and air conditioned shop, except when they were at the racetrack or traveling back and forth. So underneath of the bus is really rust free. We'll try and take some pictures of that for you. A couple things I'll mention about the front of the bus. As you can see, the stainless steel is in pretty good shape, and the original roller up there that has all the cities that the bus companies used to run, it is still intact and still works correctly. Kind of just a neat thing. But we're going to go around the outside of the bus first. I'll tell you what's in each compartment. Then we will go up on top, and then we will do a video of the inside. And we'll also have a separate video when we leave here today. We're going to take a video showing you driving down the road so you can kind of get an idea of the way the bus drives and acceleration and all that. So anyway, let's go ahead and head around this side. Your first cubicle here is your fuel tank. It has a 179 gallon fuel tank. It'll hold 170 because they don't allow you to fill it all the way to the top. This is separate from the generator fuel tank. So the generator has a separate 55 gallon fuel tank. So between the two up here, holding about 220 to 230 gallons. One nice thing that the past owner did, he has a transfer pump right here. So if you're setting somewhere and you run out of diesel fuel in your generator, you can put a hose in here and refill your generator tank. But they do have it to where you can do that just so you don't have to run and refuel like if you're at the racetrack or something. We just put in two brand new batteries today. They're the 8DFT batteries. They have an 18-month warranty on them through O'Reilly's. Going back his storage bays here, this is a half storage bay. He wanted whoever had the bus to have everything that went with the bus. And so he has an outdoor fire pit in here. There is a surround sound system, which I'm assuming was for up top. When you're watching TV up there, you'll see they have a TV up on top. Then he has just some other miscellaneous stuff in here. He has a slide-out camping stove here, so if you want to cook outside, you can. If you need the storage room, that comes out very easily. He said there's only a few bolts holding it in. In that compartment, you'll see on the other side when we get around there, it shares the compartment with a very, very large propane tank. It's actually the biggest one that he could buy to go in here. So it's full, he said, and all it's actually running is the gas stove and oven, so that much propane you could cook for a long time with it. Moving back here, he had these two tanks custom made. He couldn't remember the sizes on them. I'm going to try and look them up and try and place that in the ad, but they're at least 100 to 150 gallons each. So you'd have 100 to 150 of fresh water, black. Also has a hot water heater that works very well. When you start the generator, the hot water heater automatically starts heating water. He made it that way. From the time that they left to go to the racetrack, they would start the generator and they never shut it off. It's a diesel genset, runs very, very well. It powers both roof air units, everything inside, and then the water heater also. Oh, and one other thing, so I don't forget to tell you, the roof air units also have heat strips in them for heating in the wintertime. So going on back, if we can get a shot of the tires here, all the tires on the bus, I would say, have probably, I'm guessing, at least 80 to 90% tread. I'm not sure of the year on all of them. I know the front two tires are new. I know this tire is new, and I know the tires on the two tires on the drive axle on the other side are new. Don't know exactly about the others, so there may be two or three that are older, but none of them have cracking that's really evident in the sidewalls, like they've dry rotted real bad. Probably the fact that he stored it inside his garage when he wasn't using it, that keeps the sun from getting to him, so that helps. This is a side compartment, and I want to get a shot of this here to show you how rust-free this bus is. When you look at it here, a lot of times your wheel wells and everything will be eaten out and all this. You can see all of the frame rails and everything are pretty rust-free. I will point out it is an old Detroit. All old Detroits leak a little bit of oil. This one here, I drove home about 5.5 hours after I bought it. Doesn't really seem to have consumed any oil. He seemed like a knowledgeable, honest person. He told me from Arkansas he could run it all the way to Charlotte, North Carolina and back, and it would use about 1 gallon of oil. If you don't know old buses, that may seem like a lot, but for an old Detroit, It's not, because I know some guys, in fact I know a bus appraiser in Nashville, and he told me their joke was that until it got to where they used a gallon of oil on every tank of fuel, they didn't rebuild them. So old two-stroke Detroits, they just normally use oil. Normally they also leak a lot of oil out what they call the slobber tubes on it. This one here is very dry. In fact, I want to show you something about this. I think the motor is in reasonably good condition, because he had this serviced before they put it up for sale, and I drove it 5.5 hours, and normally Detroit oil will be really black even just after the first time that you start it. But if you can see it on the dipstick, it's really clear even after a 5-hour trip. So I think probably the engine is in good condition. The oil pressure on the engine is still well above Detroit specs. At idle, when you start it up, it holds between 20 and 30, and going down the road, it holds about 38 to 40 still. And I've consulted with some Detroit specialists. They told me that that's well above what they expect. This is a Detroit 6B92. He said he has never had to do anything major to it since he's had it. He did take the radiators out and have them flushed and put them back in, which, if you know old Detroit buses, that's a very important thing, because you want to keep these cool. Detroits do not like getting overheated at all. They will crack a head if you overheat them bad. Anyway, so he has done that. Driving up here from Arkansas, it stayed between 150 and 170 all the time on the engine coolant temp, so very, very good on that. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull the transmission dipstick here and just let you see the fluid in it, so that you can see how clear it is. This is transmission dipstick, and it is really, really pink fluid. Has no burnt smell to it at all. It's a 4-speed Allison. I believe these are an HT 740. Runs, shifts out very well. One thing you'll notice when we do the driving video is these are not an electronically shifted Allison. They are a mechanical governor shift, and so you'll see that when the transmission engages, it engages very firmly. That is the way older Allisons work. You don't want an older Allison that shifts real smooth and slides into gear, because if they're doing that, you're going to have problems with that. As I told you right before he put it up for auction, he had the engine serviced. They also serviced the gen set, so it should be good for at least a few hundred hours. Once again, these here are the new drive tires that were just put on. They're very deep tread. This one here is at least 75 or 80% on the tag. This is just the other side. He does have this set up with a sprayer, so if you want to spray something off, he plumbed it to the hot water heater. You can kick this on, and it'll put hot water out so you can wash things down. This is your septic dump, and you fill your fresh tank right here, so very easy to get to. This is the other side of the propane tank. Go down and get a close-up of that propane tank. It is a very large, the biggest propane tank I've ever seen in a bus. So just cooking with it, honestly, I don't think you could use it. It'd probably take you a year or two to use it with propane unless you're living it full time. This canvas bag right here is the canvas bag that all of the seats and railings fit into the top, and we'll take a picture of that once it's all put together for you. This is the gen set. It's an 8,500 watt diesel. I looked these up, and I was actually kind of surprised, because I've got an Onan in the other bus that we have. An Onan at full draw, or 7,500 watt, will use 0.9 gallons per hour. This one here's max pull is 0.49, so it's less than a half gallon an hour. So it's a 55 gallon tank. You know, you're going to be able to run around 100 to 125 hours before you're going to run out of fuel. So keeps you quite a few days. This here is just a little cubicle. He has a small air compressor in there. He had a set of train horns on the top. He took those off because he had to give them back to a guy. The spots up there for him, the air line is run to it, and the air valve is in there by the driver's seat. So we're going to go ahead now, I think, and just go up on top, and we'll show you what we've got up there. Okay, we're up on top now. The stairway coming up the back, we'll take some pictures of it. It has a railing part way up, and it has side rails that you can grab, just like if you're climbing a ladder. He had the entire roof put on. He and his friends built it. They bent diamond plate, aluminum, did a very nice job of it. Then he put cedar up here, so it's not going to be affected by the weather. The railings and all of the seats come off and go in a storage bag. And then this flagpole right here that has a 20-foot flagpole with 2 flag positions on it, so you can have 2 separate flags on it. It lays down. Everything from the top stores in the bag up here, so you're not having to carry things up and down the stairs. And with the storage bag on top, your clearance is about 12 feet 8 inches is what I measured the other day. They do have the TV at the front, which the surround sound system down below, I believe that they would bring it up and use it if they wanted louder speakers. Both roof air units, as I said, work good. We've got them both running right now, have had all day. No problems with them. Does have a in-motion King Dome satellite, which he just purchased recently and put on the front. So as far as the entertainment, it has a lot of different options for that. I can't think of a whole lot else. Of course, these are swivel chairs. They have cup holders between all of them. We know it's really windy today, so sorry if you're having a hard time hearing it. Entering the bus, you can see they've left everything pretty much original. It does have the original door closing mechanism that the driver would use. We'll demonstrate that for you. This still opens and closes the door just like it should. Comes around, locks like it should. It's very secure. There is a little bit of wind noise coming in the door. Down at the bottom you can hear a whistle, so I think probably it needs a new piece of weather stripping there. But one thing that's surprising about this is all of the gauges still work on this bus, everything except for the hour meter. There is no speedometer, odometer. Well, I take that back. There is a speedometer. There is no odometer on a bus this old. They used to just use an hour meter, but I observed the other day that it is not working, so I want you to know that. On an old bus, you know, you more pay attention to just what your oil consumption is, and if it has a lot of blow by. That's one thing I did not mention. At the end of this video, we're going to go back and start it up and let you hear the engine run, and I will pull the oil filler cap off. You will see, surprisingly, it shows really no blow-by with this engine at all. That's very odd for an old diesel, but anyway, I think it's in fairly decent shape. Up here we have a color rear view camera for the towing vehicle or whatever you're wanting to watch, or just for a rear view mirror. Have a big screen TV here. Let's see, over here is all your light controls and your air dump and everything. And of course, if you're the purchaser of the bus, we'll be glad to show you what we know about it. And we can always call the gentleman who owned it and talk to him. He's glad to answer questions. Right down here in front is the generator control. Generator starts and runs very well. It does have a nice air ride seat here, which is comfortable for the driver. Going to the back, he had these seats custom built, or these couches custom built. They are literally 10 feet long. Each couch will comfortably seat, I don't know, depends on how big you are. Our whole family can sit on one, and there's 8 of us. We've got a lot of smaller kids, but 5 to 6 adults on each couch comfortably. Both AC units, as I said before, work well, and they both have heat strips in them. He told me that his estimation was that he spent around $10,000 on the stereo that's in here. It's an Alpine unit, has a big bass speaker down beside the couch here, and then it has 6 6x12s in here, and 2 big amps over there, and then the Alpine receiver. We can demonstrate that for you. On the right hand side, he has a large trash can receptacle, which they put a kids basketball backboard there, I guess is a joke, something to throw your cans at. And then the gas stove is all propane. There's nothing electronic about it, so it works whether you have electricity or not. Refrigerator works very, very well, cools down very quickly once you start the generator, or if you're on shore power. That is one thing I'll tell you. He has it outside where you can unplug the 50 amp plug from the generator and plug it into shore power if you're at a campground or if you're at your house. Microwave works well. The cabinetry in here was all hand built by them. It is very, very thick oak. So we'll walk back and let you see that. The drawers that they built are very, very solid. I mean, I think you could get up and probably sit on if you chose to, but he did put this around. He told me recently he had added a few pieces of wood and he had not had a chance to stain them yet, so to match, you'd probably want to buy some of the, I think this is like the honey and maple stain, and put on them. Water system all works well, hot and cold. As I said before, the hot water starts heating as soon as you start the generator. Trying to think of anything. Guess we can turn the radio up just briefly and let you hear.
I need a small vacation.
We're not big on rollout radios, but that was 7, and it'll go up to between 30 and 40, so it gets way louder than I would want it to be. Not a whole lot else I know of up here. He did leave the coffee maker, crock pot, and toaster, and then there's wine glasses. He left all the utensils, dishes, everything. He really didn't take anything out that was there. Has a very nice sized pantry here that does have some stuff in. The barn wood or whatever they used is all in nice condition. This door here does close for the bathroom. It was made to match that also. Going on to the back here, the left side here has a full shower and very nice size. In fact, if you didn't want a full shower, I know you can buy half-size showers. You could convert this and do half of it in a hanging closet if that's something you wanted. Has a regular residential sink here, and then they hand-built their medicine cabinet that is here, which is a good size also. The light switches are here for this, and then it has one light back in the bedroom. The bedroom is kind of unique. It has a lot of storage underneath the beds, and the way they built this is like a double bed, and then the other 5 beds in here, or 4 beds, are the smaller, like a twin mattress. This is a little bit bigger than a regular twin. It's not quite as big as that down there, but so you've got 6 bunk beds back here, and that bed there, if you needed to, could really sleep 2 people. Of course, you could sleep a person on each one of the couches up in front. Not a lot else that I know about it as far as back here. We did have a really heavy rainstorm the other day. I checked all the windows and none of them leaked after it, so I do believe the seals on them are good. I think that's pretty much about everything that I know. This here is the bag that the TV up in front goes on, so you can put it in there and then put it back underneath one of the beds. He was good about building storage bags for everything. He seemed to be someone who, well, he wasn't short on money, so you know that makes it nicer when you're maintaining things, but he seemed like someone who took good care of his stuff. I have not found anything in here that I haven't been able to make work. The water pump switch is right over here underneath this. That's a regular switch for it. But I think that's about everything. We'll go back outside and let you hear the engine running. And then I think that's going to be pretty much about everything except for the driving video. When we're leaving here, we will let you see how it accelerates when you're going out onto the highway, run it up to cruising speed. I will tell you, just so you know, if you don't know a lot about old buses, there's a lot on the internet about old Detroits. They're a fairly reliable motor. The main thing is you want to keep oil and water in them. That's all the old bus guys tell me. But it was a 270 horsepower engine. This is the Turbo 6V92, 270 horsepower. That is not a super powerful engine for a vehicle this size. It's comfortable, but if you're looking for something that's going to accelerate really fast, this is not the vehicle for you. Once it gets up to highway speed, it does cruise nicely. Speaking of cruise, it does have a factory cruise control unit on it. The last owner had it unhooked because he didn't like it. The dash controls are still there. I don't know about the controls on the engine. He told me that last time he had it in and someone was working on it, they asked him if he wanted it hooked back up. So I assume the unit is still back there. I prefer cruise personally just because it's a little less stress when you're driving, but I believe that can be hooked up if you want it. But anyway, we'll go out behind, let you see the engine start, and we'll go from there. Because of the engine running, but I do want to pull the oil filler cap off and let you see the amount of blow-by that's coming out of it. And now shoot to the side if you can. There is literally no air coming out of there. And same thing, I'll have him get down and shoot underneath, and you'll be able to see that the road draft tube coming down right here, and you can. That's not even. One thing I'll point out in case you mentioned it, this belt here seems really loose. The air is down on the bus right now because it's been off for a while. This is an air tension belt, so when the air pressure comes up, that belt does not shake like that. And he did just put a new belt on. The old one did not go bad, but he just put a new one on. So you have the old one over here as a spare, and then this new auger belt for the coolant fan he just put on. Okay, we're going to do a quick video for you showing you just kind of the drivability of the bus, the way it accelerates, how quiet it is inside. A couple things. This does have a e-brake release on it that once you put it in gear and release the e-brake, you push down on the brake pedal until it reaches like 80 or 90 pounds. That releases the brakes. So I want you to know that's there. I did check with a bus mechanic on that, and he told me that's how it was supposed to be. So we're going to go ahead and take off. The joke that I've read online about old Detroit motors is that they like to be wound up all the time, so the old bus driver said you wanted to slam your hand in the door as you got in to make yourself mad before you took off. I haven't experienced that it's that bad, but it is not a real fast bus. I'm just going to go ahead and take off here, and this is pushing it down to the floor. So this is how it accelerates normally. It's not slow, but it's a about 28,000 pound vehicle being pushed by a 270 horsepower engine. So what I have noticed about the drivability of it is though that once you get to cruising speed, it holds its speed really well on hills. Well, not long hills, but like on rolling hills, it holds its speed very well. So I'm assuming they set the torque curve on it for when you're driving at highway speed. This here is approximately 55. And when I drove it the 5 hours home the other day, I drove it approximately 65 miles an hour. It was very comfortable. Fuel mileage wise, the last owner said he would make between 6 and 8 with it, depending upon if he was driving in mountains or flat areas. But this is approximately 65, and I don't have it to the floor at this moment. This is just cruising speed. One unique thing about the inside of the bus, they did have the drivers at the Nascar track sign the area above the door up here. The Troy Landry, Austin Dillon, Ricky Bobby, a few of the guys that signed up there, so if you're a NASCAR fan you might like that. Anyway, reasonably smooth ride. We have a Gulfstream Tourmaster motorhome, which is a Spartan chassis with 10 airbags, and it rides very similar to that. So, pretty smooth ride. Reasonably quiet inside, very quiet in the back of the bus. Does have a little bit of wind noise around this door right here.